I was a voter right now, here and today, I would pick. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel or welcome back. Of course, if this is not your first time, you're here with Raquel for the Rah Rah Report. I've already explained to you guys my name change. I'm not going to explain it anymore, but what I am going to ask you guys to do, if you haven't already done so, because we're kind of growing, we're growing, is to make sure you subscribe, you like, you comment, you share, you do all that good stuff so I can hopefully grow, okay? So I can give you guys content. All right, let me stop being weird. I don't know why I'm being weird. I think I'm just giddy. So I wanted to talk to you guys today about the WNBA. Why do I do that? I'm really bad about that. The WNBA upcoming awards. So we all know that at first we were told that we couldn't even speak on the MVP for most of the season, that it was unanimously A'ja Wilson. A'ja Wilson is having one of the best, most dominant seasons we've ever seen in the WNBA. She is not only dominating offensively, but she does an amazing job defensively, and she's just an incredible player. She is the best player in the WNBA. She has been the best player in the WNBA, and if you've been following the league, you know A'ja Wilson is the best player in the WNBA. The issue I have with some of it is that being a dominant best player, does that mean that that said player is the most valuable player to their team? Well, I formed this question to Twitter. And a lot of people say, yeah, it coincides with it. You know, the best player is also the league's MVP. And I said, well, how does that translate for value? Because, you know, yes, her value is there, meaning A'ja Wilson, because she's a dominant, amazing player. That to me means she is the best player, hands down. No one's on her level at this point. However, she also is on a team where just because her teammates are underperforming, you still know she's under a team what was considered at one point a super team. 4 Olympians and the champions of the league back to back. We're really trying to act as if A'ja Wilson doesn't have any help just because her teammates are failing her and they're not helping her. Now, does that take away from the amazing thing that A'ja Wilson is doing? Absolutely not. A'ja Wilson is still showing up every game dominating. And yes, her actual performances are what's instrumental in her team winning games. Because unfortunately, no one else has really stepped up this year. Kelsey Plum is not having a great year. She's not having a great year. But the craziest part is that the Aces, I think, are right now 4th. They did just recently beat the Fever. But one of the things I kept saying is like, is A'ja Wilson's value more than someone such as a Caitlin Clark? Because if we look at these two teams, and I'm speaking of the Aces as well as the Fever essentially was almost nearly the same team, with the exception they brought in Caitlin Clark. This team was the worst team in the league, the Indiana Fever were previous year. Meanwhile, the Aces over here were the league champion and essentially was able to bring back their super team. Now, again, the players on that said super team is not performing, is making A'ja Wilson look invaluable, plus her dominance. We're not going to downplay what A'ja Wilson's doing. I think she just hit a record for scoring the most points in a WNBA season. She's an incredible player. She is the best player. I want to be clear. A'ja Wilson equals best player in WNBA, and it ain't close. It ain't close. But that to me does not determine her being the most valuable player. And here's the reason why. Now, right now, if Caitlin Clark and the Fever can actually beat her in this upcoming game, there is a possibility then that we kind of should be discussing MVP. No, it's unanimous. No, it's really not. And this is the reason why. Their game structure, I think they're 5 games behind now. Now, there's still about 6 more games in the regular season, 6 or 7. Sorry, can't remember off the top of my head. Let's just say the Fever beat the Aces on Friday. And let's just say the Aces don't win. They don't finish off top 4, but it's 4-5 for. Doesn't that mean that Caitlin Clark has essentially taken a bottom team to be a top team? Or does it just not matter? I'm actually saying this because I think that we should be able to discuss the MVP for a player's value. Most recent game with the Aces versus the Fever. A'ja Wilson shot 28 times to get 27 points, plus she had boards, plus she's just a dominant player. Again, amazing defensively too. But my thing about that, and the reason why I raised the question, is because Caitlin Clark had a bad game. She was still trying to play make. Her teammates weren't able to make shots. It was just not a great night for the Fever. Still was a close game. They kept her close, but they just couldn't actually get the win. Caitlin Clark had her worst shooting game since the All-Star break and break for the Olympics and so forth. She just wasn't shooting great. However, she wasn't shooting and playing her best, and the team looked very bad. That's why I say her value is there. Caitlin Clark makes a few more of those threes. The 1 out of 10 she went, which is not good, Caitlin. Gotta prove that. I think we're talking and discussing a whole nother game, right? We're discussing a whole nother structure around the MVP. I just think that Caitlin value is more significant than A'ja's value. Now, I know people are going to be like, oh my God, you're stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. Hear me out. Hear me out before you start crying and whining and acting stupid. Raquel, keep saying A'ja Wilson is the most valuable player if you're talking about statistically, dominance, and how well she plays on both ends of the court. You heard me, right? You heard me. Okay, then shut up. What I'm saying is that Caitlin value on her team is very significant because her value is also important for her team to win. You're speaking on a back-to-back championship team, a super team whose player is playing at a dominant level, and she should be the best player of the actual league, and she's clearly the most dominant. But her value has been increased due to her other players failing to show and put up their value. But this is still that same team that won a championship last year. Caitlin Clark value has been so significant that she took a team that was the worst team in the league, and now they're in like 6th place. Now, I had this whole argument that if they surpassed the Aces or were within the 2 games, we got to discuss value. You don't like it, but it is what it is. Best player and most valuable player of the league to me are 2 different things in a way. Even though I understand voters will always vote best player is the MVP. NBA has struggled with this because they do it, but Caitlin Clark's value has been invaluable for the Fever. Yes, I know Kelsey Mitchell is a baller. Hooper shoots lights out. She's literally shooting 40% from the 3-point line. Aaliyah Boston, man, girl's great. You have Nalissa Smith who can come in and she can just give you some good games. Lexi Hall, that's my girl too. Her defense and her ability to shoot is great. I'm not taking anything away from the rest of the team. But what I'm saying is, Caitlin Clark has a bad game or is off. That Fever team does not look the same. A'ja Wilson doesn't show up to a game. They can still pull out a win. Why? Because they have 4 Olympians or 3 other Olympians, or the fact is the matter is that they're also the champions. I still think she's the most valuable player on that team. Their structure didn't change. The players lacking or lack their performances, that's on them. A'ja Wilson having to step up, yes, she is. That's what we expect from the best player in the WNBA. I'm just starting to question if Caitlin's value is a little bit more for what she's done for the Fever. Again, taking a team that was at the bottom and turning them into a playoff team. One of the things that I was talking to Marcel, you guys know him as Legend of the Winning, he said, hey, it changes if she took them to be a top team in the league. Caitlin didn't make them a top team yet. She didn't. So that's why she wouldn't be looked at as the MVP, I guess, apparently. But if their records finish very similar, very close, I'm just saying we're going to start talking about value. Not best player, which I know it's all kind of coincided, but we got to kind of talk about value. In my opinion. Leave yours below. I just wanted to make this quick little video about the MVP. I still would say that after watching the game, against the Aces and Fever on Wednesday. Yes, once again, dominant performance by A'ja Wilson. If I was a voter right now, here and today, I would pick A'ja Wilson, hands down. But if that record gets close, you gotta look at Caitlyn. Even Napheesa Collier, who has been balling too for the Lynx. That's just my opinion. You ain't gotta like it, but you just watched it. With that being said, make sure you guys continue to watch. Make sure you guys continue to come back. So make sure you guys subscribe, like, comment, share my content, of course. And I just want to let you guys know that I truly appreciate all the new people. And I'm going to try to get these videos out as quick as possible. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.